Minister, thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
First of all, government is hoping that by the end of 2018, Macedonia will be able to start accession negotiations with the European Union. Is that possible?
Well, it all depends on the reform efforts and if things are sort of carried out the way that is set out also in the accession process for the European Union. So it depends very much on what happens here. But I think it is important also to keep the issue of enlargement and the future of the EU relation with Western Balkans, to keep it on top of the EU agenda. And I think we just have to look at it, and that's Sweden's position. We have to look at it as a win-win option. You know, if we can see prosperous, peaceful countries that economically and socially develop, that will also benefit the rest of the European Union. And it will ensure also security for us. The name issue, we know very well that this has been standing in the way for progress, also versus EU accession and so on. And I think it is so important what they are trying to do now as neighbors, both, of course, with Greece mainly, but also how the government here reaches out to Bulgaria to try to create another kind of neighborhood. And of course also ultimately finding a way forward on the name issue, because to us it is something that we cannot fully comprehend because we don't have all the historic background or the sort of the sentiments sort of connected to all of this. So it's difficult for us to judge or even say too much about it, but I think the right way is to do exactly what they are trying to do now, to make a contact with and a political dialogue with Greece and see if there is a way forward. If it is a practical one, if it is to agree to disagree on certain things, but try to solve a practical problem at the same time. I applaud that.
Why is President of the European Commission Jean-Claude Juncker lately speaking of Serbia and Montenegro in European Union by 2025 without mentioning Macedonia and Albania?
I don't know that, why he chose to formulate his speech the way he did, but I think it gave, at the same time, it gave more hope to all the Western Balkan countries, because there was a time when the idea was, or the signal was from the European Union, that there wouldn't be any enlargement or any new member states from this part of the world and this part of Europe in the nearest future. So I think at least there was he managed to give a kind of time frame and new hope to countries in the Western Balkans.
Did and to what extent European Commission, whose member you were in 2 terms, played consistently its role in the enlargement process? In Macedonia's case, we witnessed how European Commission and some of the enlargement commissioners kept silent about democratic decline in the country.
I think we have to stay committed, and we have to stay engaged, and we have to follow the procedures and the process very closely. And I think we have to be there as a really close friend. And as you know, from a close friend you can take the truth as well. You can hear some difficult and inconvenient stories as well, and maybe some good advice. You have to look out not to do that, and keep on track to making sure that the reform efforts are directed towards creating a better situation for the citizens. It is not for the Commission, it is for the citizens of this country, and to keep focus on that throughout the process. We are a number of countries that insist to move it upwards, so that we show that we are, over a longer period of time, engaged and committed to enlargement.
Equality between women and men is fundamental aim of Swedish foreign policy. Is foreign policy still a man's world? You came from a debate on gender equality here in Skopje. How do you assess situation in Macedonia? Only 15 candidates, women, on the forthcoming local elections?
I think it has improved lately with a better representation of women in the government and at other levels, but it seems more difficult to get women represented at the local level and at the mayor level. And I don't know enough of exactly how that plays out and why that is. But of course, it has to reach down to the mayor's level as well. And maybe there are something in the conditions, I don't know. But I think I can only applaud the fact that there is public announcements and public declarations about doing something about violence against women, to make sure that there are quotas that will be respected, that there is a political will expressed very clearly, because then you can hold also politicians accountable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.